Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Hello! Welcome to Bad at Board Games.
Well, he's bad at board games.
I'm Brad Lake.
I'm Toph Ferguson.
We're bad at board games, so you don't have to be. You know what the worst thing about this video is, Toph?
That I have to sit here beside you?
No, I didn't know what shirt to wear. Look at this. I've got a Yoda shirt, Christmas shirt, upside down. I have the
Also still upside down?
The Dadalorian shirt. Kids. I have another Christmas shirt. Merry Christmas.
Someone is obsessed.
I got.
I'm not going to name any names.
I have a star. We have a helmet over here. Oh, look! I got obsessed. Look.
Someone's even more obsessed. The force apparently is strong with him, and the inability to say no to more and more memorabilia. Disney, you are welcome for the amount of money he has spent on your products.
What are we talking about today, Toph?
Today we are talking about Star Realms.
No.
But we are. It's a deck builder. Dueling game. Deck builder.
Star Wars.
With ships that we are fighting. And more ships that we are buying and fighting. We're talking about Star Realms.
Star Wars.
Star Realms.
Wars.
Star Realms.
Well, wars.
Yes. Today we are talking about the 2023 Fantasy Flight game, Star Wars, the deck building game. It is a game that is designed by Caleb Grace, and it is published by Fantasy Flight Games. Good old Asmodee.
People used to love Fantasy Flight.
Rebellion, or...
Probably the Empire.
Probably the Empire.
But they bring a lot of games to a lot of people.
That they do. That they do. So, fun little game.
Mm-hmm.
As you could probably see, it's a little bit like Star Realms.
Just a bit.
You know, whether you are somebody that likes Star Wars or somebody that likes deck builder games, either way, stick around. Head it to the end of the video where you can see our value rating and our overall thoughts on this new game by Fantasy Flight.
So it is obviously Star Wars. Wars, not Star Realms.
Star Trek?
Not Star Trek. Best at Star Trek, our great YouTube subscriber. Still Star Wars.
What's the difference?
Don't make me kill you. Anyway, Star Wars. It is around the original trilogy, and then it actually has Andor character in it. It actually has Rogue One characters in it. So it's more that series. It is not the trilogy that won't be named.
I wonder if I've seen the trilogy that has not been named. I think I have.
We won't talk about it.
So I've seen the original 3, and then I saw the next 3 movies that hit the theaters, and then I've seen like 1 or 2 other movies that have hit theaters. Yeah. That's about it.
Comment down below.
Please don't.
Go ahead.
Please don't.
But Fantasy Flight Games, they have the money, they have the artists, the cards look nice, and if you have played Star Realms, it's better art than that, but it is similar. So
I will agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll agree. It's a little bit nicer artwork than what you get on.
And then, so you're getting to your appearance. The cards are nice. They give you some plastic cubes. They give you a little force counter thing. This is flimsy, but I don't think it matters.
It does what it needs to do.
Yeah, I've sleeved it already because I bought 1,000 sleeves and didn't mean to buy that many. So I'm just going to sleeve anything I get from now on until I run out of sleeves. So,
or until I get the next cycle of Arkham and I steal your cards.
There you go. Well, he can buy them. I'm the card sleeve dealer of the group right now.
For the time being, you are. It's a little black market he's got going on. So
what about the mechanics, Toph?
Yeah. So if you have not played a game similar to this is a deck builder game, and that's about all this is. A deck builder game with a little bit of open drafting, which would be the market that you would see lining the table between you and your opponent. Deck builders themselves, if you're not familiar with it, it's where you're going to drop a number of cards in your hand. Then you're going to use those cards to do various actions. You're going to discard all of your cards, and then you are going to keep drawing up a new hand to continue to play throughout the game each turn. You're going to go back and forth. This is a 2-player only game. It is the Empire versus the Rebels. See, I don't know Star Wars very much. But anyways, I've seen a few of them. That's about it.
It hurts me.
So
Here.
easy mechanics. Relatively, I would say easy to play and easy to pick up on the mechanics. So I think this is a very accessible game, which is a good thing.
Yep.
You've played it a little bit more than I have.
Yep.
We have been playing it together. You've played it with your kids. What do you think, as the Star Wars lover, about this game?
I think the longer you play the game, as the game moves on, as with a lot of deck builders, the more fun it becomes.
Yeah.
It's, it starts out as a slow, you don't feel like you can do much. And there's that sweet spot where you're feeling like everything's going well. And then it's either you want the game to be ready to end or the game might end a little too soon. So I'm not sure about that. But I was ready to not like this game, honestly. I mean, Star Realms is a good game. I bought it and then I bought a bunch of it. And then, of course, after you buy stuff, then your kids don't want to play with you anymore. But that's been a while ago. But, I bought this because of one of our YouTubers went like, "Are you going to review this?" And I'm like, hadn't planned on buying it. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll buy it today." And so here we are.
Yeah.
But all in all, I liked playing it. I think it's a nice 30-minute or less game. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. We've had some fun playing it. There's been some interesting moments. I died at the hands of Darth Vader, unfortunately, in one of the games. And
Darth Vader's a beast in this game.
Yes, he is. You died a pretty terrible death in the last game we played.
Yeah, I got destroyed. So
yeah.
So the Empire has not lost in any of the games we've played. But
Not at all.
Any of the games I've played with my kids or any of the games Toph and I, we've switched back and forth just to see if it was the Empire or it's playing or what kind of comes out.
Yeah, the Empire has won every single game that we have played.
So
I don't know if that is something that is going to be happening all the time necessarily, but in our playthrough so far, I think both of us have said it might be imbalanced.
It's possible.
It might be largely imbalanced.
There is, it's luck based, right? So you have this whole stack of cards, and it does seem like the Empire is shifted towards attack, where the rebels are shifted more towards being able to buy things and being able to make kind of the Empire discard cards
to mitigate their deck.
But it's kind of, I think there might not be enough of them to really build that engine, versus just there's a lot of attack cards coming at you from the Empire.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cards, and then you can get some capital ships out, and then if you're not the one to get the capital ships out, then you can't soak up as much damage. So there is that side of the luck factor.
Yeah. Yeah, you're limited to 6 cards in the row at any given time, which you can draft. But of those cards, only some of them you can actually take because the others are going to be for the enemy, for the opponent. Some of them are neutral. Either of us could take them. There's a little bit of luck with that. I think I almost feel like there's a little bit more luck with this than there is with Star Realms. But at the same time, I think there's a lot more to this than Star Realms in some of the chaining of abilities that you can do to be able to kind of get the cards to play for what you want. I think Brad's comment of sometimes the game just ends way too soon happens when you finally get cards in your hand that you're able to call through your deck, or you're able to continue drawing new and new cards to be able to chain things together and make big, huge, powerful moves against your opponent. And that is something that's a lot of fun. I also do like the fact that this is adding in the Force, which obviously that's thematic, but I think that really does play well with this too, because sometimes tug of war, you can get the Force on your side and your cards become more powerful, or your enemy can take the Force away from you, and then all of a sudden you're stuck thinking, well, I had a really big move, but now I can't do as much as I wanted. So, that adds into it, which I do like quite a bit. That was kind of a fun part of it. And maybe the theme of Star Wars with the Empire being stronger and maybe winning more often, maybe that's thematic too. Maybe that was a decision.
Yeah.
But I do feel like that's imbalanced.
Yeah. The other aspect of the game that I like, you get a deck of planets, right? And in the base game, you start with one planet, and you always start with the same planet. And then depending on how long you want the game to go, you can have 3 planets total, 4 planets total, or 5. You could probably have all of them if you wanted a really long game. And that's going to dictate how much of an engine and how many cooler cards you can put in your deck. It's just going to extend gameplay, right? But you get to pick and I'm not sure if I like this or not. There's good things and bad things. It slows the game down. So after your first planet is destroyed, you get to look at the next planet you want, and they have some abilities, and you can pick which one you want depending on what's going on in the game at the time and what's out on the field to be able to purchase. So I think that's kind of cool. We've played it where we didn't know what was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We've played it where we've been able to just pick one of everything. And we've played 5 planets. We've played 4 planets. I think 3 would be too quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just in my opinion. But I like the differences. I would disagree with Toph in the fact that I think Star Realms, now I have a lot of Star Realms, mind you. So the base Star Realms, this is a little bit more complicated than base Star Realms. After you buy a lot of Star Realms, it's less complicated. So there's, just take that into consideration. If you're just talking about, I don't think it's 64, but there's just a starter box that is really Star Realms base kit.
Mm-hmm.
This is more interesting and has some more nuances than that.
Out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's some really good things with this. I do like the variances in terms of how the base planets come out. I think that was a wise thing to put in to give variance in the base game itself. So buying just the game, I'm sure there's going to be expansions. It's Fantasy Flight. You're going to see Mythos packs come out left and right probably for this. But when you start with just the base game, they're going to tell you what 5 cards to pick as your base planets, what order to have them in, and then you're going to play through them and destroy only 3 planets, and the game's done. It's a good way to learn the game. But then you can pick and choose a lot more. And I think, Brad, you had mentioned it slows down the game. When we're sitting here, you destroy my first planet, and now I'm looking at 9 other planets trying to decide which of these. Maybe once we get to know the cards a little bit better, we've played it enough that we know what planets do what, it would be a little bit quicker. But they have some pretty cool variances where you only pick a few of them and you hide them so your opponent doesn't know which of the ones you're going to pull out. Things like that can help and kind of curate your deck. I like that quite a bit. Gives variance to the game. It's a small card game, and so it's adding a lot to just a base game.
Yep. Any cons that you had with the game?
The imbalance is the biggest one for me. I feel like it really is. And it may change as we play it more. We may learn how to play a little bit different, maybe a little bit better or more cohesive. It is going to be very much luck-driven in terms of, like, the last game that we played, for example, when we set out our row here, the open drafting, you have 6 cards that are turned up. Immediately, none of them were Brad's. There was like 1 neutral and 5 cards were mine. And so that can happen, and that is something you have to deal with when it comes to games like open drafting games, even deck builder games in general, that you're just going to have crappy cards at a moment, and you're not going to be able to buy anything or do anything kind of powerful. So, yeah, I think that can be a bit of a con. They've mitigated that well because you can actually fight things in this row, which is nice.
Yeah, and I guess before I go into my cons, that is something I think is neat about this. So, like, when I was the Rebels, if you see upside down, there's a number that Toph, on his turn, he can get rid of this card. And then he gets a bonus based on getting rid of this card. And that's unique, I think. I haven't played a game, and maybe there's a variant of Star Realms that has that, but I'm not aware of it. I like that. So it was like Darth Vader came out, and I did everything I could so Toph wouldn't get it. I'm like, okay, I'm able to kill Darth Vader.
And he did early on in the game,
because it was like
which was
10 damage. Vader does 10 damage, and your planets are like 8 and 16, so that's a massive amount if he comes out.
So you killed Darth Vader pretty early on. Who won that game?
You did, decisively.
I think he was on his 4th base before he was able to kill my 1st base.
Yeah.
Even without me having Darth Vader.
Yeah,
so.
It was definitely, I wasn't getting a lot of damage cards coming out, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But the cons, I guess, I think you have to kind of like get hyped up for the theme. And then if you're not, then you may just kind of be like, okay, this is all right. Like I started it with, I would say, a bad opinion. And as the game went on, I'm like, well, this isn't too bad. I started to give it a chance and give it more of a chance. And I've enjoyed it the more I've played it. So, is it a 10 out of 10? No, I'm never going to say that. But, I went into it skeptical and have come out with it, been like, it's a nice game. So
one pro for me is that I'm not big in the Star Wars theme. It's not that I don't like the Star Wars theme. It's fine. I just don't get into it quite as much. And for me, I can sit down and play this game and not have to worry about the theme so much. I know enough of the theme to know that when Leia pops up, I need to grab that card. When Luke Skywalker comes up, first game, it was up pretty much right away. It was like, I got to scoop that card up right away and put it in my hand. Darth Vader, same thing. You know, some of these people we know, and if you know it, the theme works fine. But if you don't know it, that's fine. You just look at the stats on the card and you know exactly what that card's going to do, and that is going to be a good card or whatever card. So that, for me, is a pro. So, yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things about it. The fact that you don't have to love Star Wars to absolutely get into this game.
Yeah, if you like a one-on-one deck builder game, this is right up there with any of them.
Yeah,
really. So,
con that I have, we're jumping back and forth with cons and pros, but a con that I have is that it's very hard to call your deck.
Yeah,
that can muddy it up a little bit, because if you play deck builders, you know that the bigger your deck gets, the more diverse and spread out your good cards become. And so it's a lot harder to have those big, powerful plays. And so it can be quite difficult to be able to get rid of kind of your low level, easy cards. And
that may be why the game kind of has this 3 planet, 4 planet, 5 planet. Like, you're not going to get rid of them unless, like, the game's not going to last long enough for you to care about getting rid of them unless you're getting to that 5th planet. When we played the 4th one, even just 4 planets, we didn't cycle through our stack that often.
Yeah.
So that I think that might be what, because I had the same issue that Toph did with calling out the bad cards. But like, as the more we've played it, I was kind of like, okay, why wouldn't that? And the only thing I can come up with is the game gets so short, you're really not going to spend a lot of time getting rid of bad cards. They're in there, but it's not like a lot of cards. It's not like a lot of other card games where it feels like you can trash cards more often.
Yeah, looking at something like Dominion, you have the ability to quite frequently get rid of some of your cards.
Yeah.
And that's not something you have. There's a couple cards that will do it, but there's not much.
Yeah. So
I also don't know why they chose these 2 colors. Is this a Star Wars thing?
No.
Purple and yellow.
No, I would have thought red and blue.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, I could see the money, your yellow for your resources, but purple, like, this does not scream, I'm attacking you
Mace
with Darth
Windows lightsaber, but that's about it. So, no,
that's
like, I mean, you got green and red for the lightsabers between Luke and Darth Vader, or blue, which is, Obi-Wan, but
anything except for this, like, magenta-y, like, yeah.
But any other pros or cons?
Not really. I think we've talked about it enough. It's not an overly complex game. The icons in the game on the cards are easy to understand, so that's a good pro for the game. Being able to see if it is a rebellion card, if it's an empire card, or if it's a neutral card, that's pretty easy to see because it has the colors on the card. You can kind of negotiate that pretty easily. I think they did a good job of designing it. Like, the designers did a great job in the artist side as well as the game design side.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't really have many things to add into it. It's a basic deck builder. It's Star Realms with Star Wars theme.
Cool.
And the Force. So, speaking of this game, we've mentioned it. It's not an overly complex game. Let's get into the weight rating of it. The weight is sitting right at 2.0. And that is accurate. That is exactly kind of where I would have put the game. It's what I would call beginner friendly, but it has enough of a game in it that's going to have variance throughout, where it's not just you're doing one thing over and over and over again. So, I think that's an appropriate scale when it comes to the weight.
And if you've never played a deck builder, I don't know how well the instructions read, having never played one. Like, the getting rid of all your cards is still very foreign to somebody who has never played a deck builder. So it's hard for me to read these rules in that weight rating. It is definitely a 2, but somebody still, like, the first time I ever played a deck builder, it was I'm like, what do you mean you get rid of all your cards? So just take that into account. If you haven't, which most of you probably watching this are not in that category at all, but just realize that is a very foreign concept to anybody that has never played one.
Yeah. The rulebook, I will say, is not very bad.
Yeah.
I did not read it all the way through, but we did go back to look at a couple things before we got playing it, just to make sure that we were actually doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it was well done. And compared to something like Star Realms, now I don't know about the new one, but the original ones came in these little tiny boxes with these little tiny pamphlet rules. And this one actually comes with an actual rule book. Yeah. And so, it's definitely makes it a little bit easier to understand what's going on in the game itself. So,
you're up and running in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it
really isn't that bad.
Read through the rules. It's not going to take you long to read through them. You're going to pick it up, I think, pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, value rating, right? So I paid too much for it. It has now dropped $10 in price from when I paid for it. But right now, you should be able to get it around $37. So between $37 and $47 is about where you're going to find this landed. I would say at $37, if this were $10, it'd be a value of 5. This were $50, I'd probably say it's a value of 1, just to give you an idea where my head's at with what you're getting out of this. For $37, I'll say it's about a 3-. Honestly, I think it's a little expensive for what you're getting. They're having to pay the mouse. The mouse is getting a lot of the royalty of this. It's not Fantasy Flight. They're probably paying 30% royalty just to put Star Wars on this. It's probably a lot. I paid $47 for it, and because I got it right from Asmodee.
You got ripped off.
But I couldn't find it cheaper than that. And then now you go and look, and it's $38, right? Yeah. So at $47, to me, this is a value of like a 1 to 2 at in that $50 range. Now at $37, I'll say it's a 3-. It's probably just under a 3 value. I still think it's expensive for a card game.
I 100% agree with that. And we didn't talk about what the rating was going to be, but for me, the value rating at MSRP is $37.99. At that, I still think it's a 3. Now, if you're a collector, Star Wars collector, maybe you want this, but you understand you are paying for the royalties. And a typical person that's going to go out and learn, kind of what I would consider to be a lighter weight, beginner-friendly game isn't going to want to pay $40 for that unless they're buying the theme. Yeah,
people are going to buy it because it's got Star Wars on it. And it's a nice game, but I think it's a little expensive for that, what you're getting. But I'm not upset. I'm not upset I bought it, but I still think it's probably not. I would like to see it a little bit less.
Yeah.
So, like a $29.99, I would have thought, okay, that's a little expensive for a card game, but I'd say that's probably in line for a Star Wars card game, right?
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about on our BGG ratings?
Yes. Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
I think I will go second.
Okay. I always have to go first. So, I debated where I would put this because I have had fun playing the game. I enjoy it. I don't know how long I want to play this game for. Right now it's a new game. I haven't played Star Realms in probably 2-3 years, something like that. I'm giving this a 6.5. A 6 is an okay game. A 7 is a good game, and I'm willing to play if I'm in the mood. I'm putting it kind of somewhere right in between that. I think it's an okay game, and sure, I'll sit down and play it, but I'm not probably going to be recommending this. To be fair, I'd also don't sit down and recommend Star Wars or Star Realms on a regular basis either. Deck builder, some of them I do. I want to play the Hunger. I want to play Dominion. I want to play Clank. I like deck builders a lot. 6.5.
No, so my BGG rating, right, or whatever, BGG ratings, and I'm a Star Wars guy, right? You think, everything Star Wars is going to be a 10. It is not. I think this is a nice game. In the end, I'm going to rate this at a 7. I like it a little bit better than Toph because I like the theme a little bit better the more I've played it. I would prefer a 5-planet game versus a 3-planet game for sure. But 5 planets also starts to get right on that edge of I'm ready for the game to be over. Or I'm either ready for the game to be over or I want my deck to be a little bit more powerful by the time that happens. So it doesn't drag the game out. It's that's a tricky little balance, but I like it. I think it's a little too expensive, but I'll give it a 7.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see if we continue to play and the Empire always wins. My value rating is going to go down pretty far.
Yeah, if it's so lopsided that we can't seem to win the other way, then yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
But I will say this: if they ever port Marvel Champions over to this, and I can be the rebels and have the Empire as the bad guy, or I can be the bad guys and have the rebels as the bad guy, I will spend so much money. I will get all of it.
There you go, Asmodee. He will keep you going.
That was like, that's, I'm waiting for that. I just really, like, they have Arkham Horror, they had Lord of the Rings. Now they just need to take all that, and I don't care if they just completely just put Star Wars on the regular cards and change some words. I will enjoy that experience, and I will own it all.
Part of me wonders if this was their solution, Star Wars theme to the Arkham, Lord of the Rings, and Marvel Champions.
When I first saw this, I thought they're finally coming out with the Star Wars version of Marvel Champions. That was my first inkling. And then when I read about it, I was like, no, that's not what I want. I'm gonna, I'll like it and it's decent, but it's not Marvel Champion Star Wars. I wish it was.
So I'm an Arkham Horror fiend. You all know that about me. I absolutely love Arkham Horror, the living card game. Thank you for recommending it to me and making me buy way too much of it. Another cycle is going to arrive in 2 days.
There you go.
I want to play Lord of the Rings. I'm so on Lord of the Rings theme-wise. I'm probably bigger on Star Wars theme than Lord of the Rings theme, to be honest. Marvel Champions, I can't get excited about it for some reason. Where would Star Wars fall in that order? Down here. I'm going to be playing your Marvel Champions long before I get into that one. But, we're different.
Everybody has different tastes.
Yep.
So just remember, we hope you like this. We'll start there.
Yep.
And no matter how you play, whether you play solo, with family, or friends,
enjoy whatever games the Force is bringing to your table.
May the Force be with you.
And also with you.
And this is the way. Bye.
Bye.